pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you. Okay, Karen, would you please take roll?
Van Nelson?
Here.
Sherry Hillside? Oh, that was funny. Thank you. Good. I'm learning. And Lee Van Landyke?
Very good. Yeah, here.
Don Seep?
Yes,
Don-
thank you for
Say-
speaking
say
up to
here.
the mic, Karen. I'm here.
I'd like to apologize to Commissioner Seep. I didn't find out until the last minute that you would not be attending in person, and so I put all your handouts in the mail. So you'll probably get them later today, but you don't have them right now, so I apologize.
That's okay. It's not your fault. We didn't know this was going to happen.
Okay, and we have a new member that was voted on by the board, county board on Tuesday, and that person's name is Patrick Metz. Okay, I've not met the gentleman. He is a new member and he is excused today. He's got another meeting that he's attending at this time, so we will look forward to meeting him next month at our next meeting. So with that having been said, we do have a quorum. We can approve the agenda and its posting. Karen? It's been posted.
It was posted in both locations and online.
Okay, so that's been taken care of. May I have a motion to accept? Okay. Okay, Sherry had her hand up first, so Sherry moves and Van seconds the approval of the agenda. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. And then the review and approval of the April meeting minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look them over? Karen had sent these out quite a while ago, shortly after the last meeting. And I'd like to treat this maybe as a typo. We've talked about this at the very top. I made a copy of this. I was hoping to have a new copy that was corrected, but it says the Veteran Service Committee, it says Veteran Service Office Committee, and this should say minutes, because this does not indicate that these are minutes. Okay, that one I must have missed. Mine did not say minutes, so in fact, if that's been corrected, then I stand corrected, and we will just leave it as it is then. As you read through this, are there any corrections, additions to be noted?
Just a small matter, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I think it's just a typo or an oversight, but normally, Karen, I think you indicated in the heading above, in the first paragraph announcing the meeting, that the meeting would be located on the third floor of the courthouse. And I think that's probably a good idea to keep that in.
Okay.
Did you hear?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so noted, and Karen will make that adjustment, indicating where it is that we are meeting, which is always good to know. Is there anything else? Okay, hearing nothing, what is your pleasure?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, did I say in the county boardroom of the third floor of the courthouse?
You said courthouse, yeah.
In the county boardroom of the third floor of the courthouse. I think that's the way Karen handled it in the past.
Yeah, so is that, we're good?
make sure it's on for the remainder of the agendas and minutes.
Okay, so that's been corrected, Don. I think we're all set. So I will then make the motion to accept the minutes from our last meeting. May I have a second, please? Okay, Sherry? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, that passes. The next item then is discuss the minutes format. Karen?
The style of the format is the one that Victor Vlasic used with finance and personnel and different committees. And it's the one I presented to you for February's meeting minutes. And then we just didn't have time to review it last meeting. And so Clint said that suggested that I do the minutes in the same format again for this month. And those are the ones that I sent to you. So it's the new style versus the old style.
Okay.
And I definitely get the feeling from the county administrator that he prefers the second one that it's in right now.
Yes. Are there any comments on that? Anybody care to speak to that issue? Don?
Yes, I was very impressed with the minutes as they were presented, Karen.
I believe it was, yes. Karen, would you like to speak to that?
I'm sorry, could you repeat yourself?
I said I was very impressed with the minutes as they were presented today.
Thank you.
I would also agree with that. This was an improvement. It was much more readable. It was kind of point by point, and everything seemed to be in order and readable and you know, coherent, which was good. Van, any comments? Okay, Sherry, comments? Okay, I think that suffices, and Karen, I think if you continue doing it in this fashion, I think that's good. Anything further on that? Okay, then we will move to number 7, discuss status of the filling of the commission vacancy. Karen?
On Monday, the Committee on Committees chose Patrick Metz. He is the former Health and Human Services Director. He has 17 and a half years of committee experience and budget worksheets. He's very knowledgeable on everything county related. So, and then on Tuesday night, the county board officially chose him, selected him for our committee. He had a very important state meeting that he had to be at today, which it happened to exactly coincide with this meeting. So he apologizes, but he does have all the handouts. He has been sent the minutes and the agenda. He has signed up with the county board, the county clerk's office, and got all his paperwork squared away. And so he will be here on June 17th.
Okay, that sounds good. So we look forward again to meeting him at our next meeting. Sherry, did you get yourself all signed up with the clerk or with Karen? Okay. Sherry Hillesheim is also a newer member, and the paperwork that was needed for her to be compensated for meetings as an appointed member had not been yet taken care of. So that evidently is taken care of now, so everything's good. We will stay informed. So thank you very much, Sherry. Okay.
Lee?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
so everybody knows, and I wish they would change this, that this committee doesn't get a voice in who they pick for this position. I think we should have. I think they should have at least told us who applied.
Yeah,
And I didn't know till Tuesday night
yeah.
who they had picked. And if it's our committee, the least they could do is tell us who it is. Maybe we'll have to change that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Under the old rules, before we had an administrator, this committee had a lot to do with naming the person to participate as a committee or a commission member. And as of this time, with the new administration, you know, the personnel is out of our hands, and it goes, I think, to 2 other committees, and the Committee on Committees is a group of county board members that meet, that appoints, excuse me. I'll call you back, I'm at a meeting. Sorry, I will mute this. I'm sorry. Is that a gig? I've been gigged. Okay, I got to be careful I don't end up in the brig. Okay, at any rate, we've got not a lot to say, and I have no idea how many people applied. I have no idea who applied, and that was true of all of us. And when the Committee on Committees that appointed us to these positions and also appointed Patrick Metz, we were kind of in the dark. None of us were let known. And I didn't know until, we had our meeting on Tuesday, the general board meeting, actually who had been appointed. And I have no idea, who he is. And I had no idea who else was there. So this committee had absolutely nothing to do with choosing of that. So Van, I'm glad you brought that up because it's, we're kind of in flux at this point. I think we finally, at our last board meeting, solidified the county administrator as the head of, his own department that kind of reshapes everything else that kind of falls below that. So we're kind of all in that position now. Don?
Mr. Chairman, I think we're wandering slightly off the agenda.
Okay, it was just some clarification. So you're correct. We will go on.
Lee?
Yes, sir.
Just,
Ma'am.
just to follow up, I talked to Tammy yesterday as far as the commission, and she said that your completed forms that were emailed to you, if you can just turn them into here today, then she can make sure that they get processed and taken care of.
That sheet that you passed out?
No, the forms that were emailed to you for employment for the county.
I don't remember that.
I CC'd Lee on them, and then they said that they'd reached out to you prior to that. We can get it taken care of today, but just before you leave today, if we can get that done.
Oh, those are the W4 forms
Yeah,
for tax
yes.
purposes.
Thank you.
Right. Well, yeah, if need be after this meeting, I've got to go up there too. We can go up and make sure that's taken care of. Is that should
Thank
work
you.
out. So then that's all solidified. Thank you. We are now moving to number 8, Veterans ETK software. I think we brought this up a couple meetings ago, but please fill us in, Karen.
Chairman?
Oh, I'm sorry, Sherry.
I'm sorry. And I know that Don thought that we were kind of getting off track with regard to this committee's review of who comes on the committee.
Correct.
So, but is that a point that we should be addressing in the future in terms of that change, or do we care? I mean, or is that, because we don't even know how many applied for this past position.
Maybe we could ask for clarification. Karen, would you do that for us, please?
Mr. Chairman, I think the administrator could review that and give us a report. He knows the rules.
Well, who's to contact him then? Would Karen be the appropriate person?
Well, sure, whomever,
Okay.
if
Yes, sir.
if we need clarification. The county board has the authority to appoint whomever they want.
Correct. We have a gentleman speaking now. Please state your name.
Kerry Severson, County Board Supervisor, District 16. I just would like to refer you to Chapter 4581 of Wisconsin State Statutes that states that in lack of a county executive, we have a county administrator. In lack of a county executive, the county board chair appoints members of the commission. Chapter 4581.
That's actually stated in the county rules and bylaws, so that's the way it reads. The county chairman has elected to choose the committee on committees, so that would be the proper person. Initially, you would need to contact Clint directly, and he could tell you the proper protocol for taking forward steps.
Okay.
It's time to move on.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I think,
Could still tell the committee, we're not asking to make the decision, we just like to know who's a,
yeah, just to be informed as to, what's happening. It's a courtesy thing, yes. So anyways, we can find out after the fact how that went, but as far as doing anything further with this, it's so seldom that we will replace, it's every 2 years, and when people drop out, then that's taken care of, so we can deal with it the next time this happens. So thanks, Don. We're moving on. So we're talking about number 8, the Veterans ETK software. Oh, Karen, would you like to speak to that?
The veteran software was put on the agenda for Barb Scott to speak to, is what was decided last month, so that she could address on the benefits of the program. And I think she's online, so she should probably. Speak to it, but that's the reason it was put on the agenda, so that she could talk about the benefits of the program, or the benefits of the computer program.
She being Barb?
Yes.
Is Barb on right now?
Sorry, I had to get onto my device with audio.
Not a problem. Barb, would you like to speak then, please?
Well, I don't know a lot about the software. I did review it. It's been a significant amount of time, but it is valuable. It is what almost, if I'm not
Barb, we
mistaken.
have a hard time hearing you. Would you please speak
Okay.
forward?
John, can you turn that up? Okay. So the software is valuable, and almost all the other counties are utilizing it. And I think that we need to move forward with it. I do not have the current pricing that would come from Karen, but I don't see, what would stop you from implementing it.
Okay, would you suggest that we take a motion right now to go ahead with the purchase of such unit?
Karen, do you have it in your budget?
Yes, I do.
Then yeah, I would.
Okay, Karen, would you like to speak further about it with your experience?
The last time that we talked about this program and reviewed it, it's the same software that the city of Richland Center is using. So it seems like it's pretty compatible with rural internet connections, which is always a big hurdle for us. And out of 72 counties and 11 tribes, I believe we're the only county that doesn't already have this computer program. The reason it's going to be cheaper for us than it would be for several other counties is because we don't have an existing program that we're changing from. So they don't have to adapt our existing computer program into theirs or change the information over, since we're starting kind of from scratch. So that's why it's cheaper for us than it would be for any other county that got this program.
Wonderful. So it sounds like we're the poor cousin. Okay, Sherry?
And so just what is the cost then in terms of what we're looking at?
The cost would be, I just got it's in my email right now. I've been speaking with the sales representatives. There's online tutorials, there's additional costs, but for the basic package, I think it's $2,000 and then $500 a year to maintain it, I believe, unless it's changed.
And you say you do have money within the budget to take care of that?
Yes.
Excellent. So then we're covered.
Mr. Chair.
Yes,
The one-
Ben?
I think it's probably time, and the cost is well worth it. And I would move that we purchase this software as soon as possible.
One of the biggest reasons that I'm really pushing for this is that we fax all of our claims in to Milwaukee, and the problem is that Milwaukee is telling us, hey, we're gonna discontinue faxing operations, and so it's either snail mail or it's what everyone else is doing. I just think it's time to.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Don?
thank you, Karen. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Let's save discussion until after the motion is seconded, but I'm very happy to second, always happy to second Mr. Van Nelson's motions.
Okay, well, I'm happy to hear that.
And pardon me, Karen.
Okay, so Van has moved that we move as quickly as possible toward purchasing this ETK system. Don Seep has seconded. Is there any discussion at this time?
Well, Karen had discussion going.
Okay, Karen, I think you said what you needed to. We're set on that score. Anything else? Anybody else want to speak to that subject? Okay, hearing none.
The only, there is one more thing, sorry.
Yes,
Can we
Barb?
just make sure that MIS has, like a management account on the software? It won't be to any specific MIS user, but it's just a centralized account. The reason we do that is if there's ever turnover of anyone, it's easier to manage to move the stuff forward.
Okay, should that be also included then in the motion, or is that just understood?
And that's up to you guys.
Well, how would you like it stated?
It's standard practice.
Okay, Karen says it's standard practice, so with that having been said, I think the motion would stand as is and all those things would be taken care of. And Karen, would you make sure that gets included in the notes so that we're covered with that idea? Okay, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of passing the motion that we accept the ETK software, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Don. Opposed? Okay, it passes. So Karen and Barb, as soon as you're able to get together and get this thing, let's get it up and running, and we'll be shoulder to shoulder with the rest of the counties and tribes. Okay.
Mr.
Don?
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
reverting back to my interruption of Karen, I didn't mean to be pedantic, but normally discussion is held off until after a motion is made and seconded. And I think it was just an oversight.
Not a problem. Nobody's accusing you of being pedantic. I'm sorry. So with that having been said, I think we're back on even ground here now. So we can go to number 9, office staff schedule. Karen, is that one of the articles you passed out, or no?
No, this is just to update you that for Memorial Day, I have been invited to speak in the Viola area. So for Memorial Day, one of us will be here in Richland Center, and the other one will be in Viola as a guest speaker for the Memorial Day event at the Viola Cemetery. One of the events begins at 10, the other one begins at 11, and then June 6th through the 11th will be our conference. And due to COVID shutting down a lot of our options for the conference, we really both need to be there.
Okay. So you and Peter.
Yes.
Okay.
And so the office will basically be closed for that week. I try really hard to make sure that office is never closed. So it's not the best thing, but it is our only option because we need this accreditation training. So
Understood. So with that having been said, now Baroque was having this ceremony. Are we doing anything here in Richland County?
no, yep. So Viola is
Viola, yes.
Viola is having one, and then Richland Center is having one. VFW Post 2267 is always in charge. Commander Freeman could actually speak to the events if you wanted her to. But as far as our office schedule,
Okay.
those are the only upcoming items that we have between now and June 17th.
Okay, so that will happen on Memorial Day. And Ms. Freeman, do you want to advertise what's going on here locally? Would you speak into the mic, please?
Memorial Day this year, we will officially start at 10:30 a.m. up in front of the cemetery. We'll do the same as we did last year. We will not have a parade due to the current situation, and we could not get marching units for the parade, so we chose to go the same as last year, meet in front of the cemetery, march up in the cemetery, City will have the chairs all set up, the speaker and everybody who's supposed to be there, chaplain, master of ceremonies, and so on, will be there prior to 10:30.
Okay, and I'm assuming that's going to be in the paper and also on Ron
Yes, it's
Fruit's
already
been
been on the
notified?
radio and it'll be in next week's paper.
Excellent, good,
Okay.
good,
All right, and at City Council. Thank you.
good. Thank you very much. Okay, anything further on that? Yes, Sherry?
Question with regard to that week that that office will not be staffed. Is there an option or is there a need for someone if wanting service from that? It's- or is that something we're concerned about so that veterans will have a to navigate even though that office is closed?
Okay, Karen?
My cell phone number is always posted on the door.
Okay. Also in the newspaper, when that's done, could you add a little addendum that, if anybody needs, if there's an emergency, and actually physically print that number down so you or Peter can be contacted? If you're the primary speaker, maybe if you give Peter's number, is that a possibility?
For the
For-
week that we're gone.
Correct. If there's any veteran that finds there's a problem during that week and they need immediate assistance, is there any way that they can receive that assistance?
It's the conference is only in Baraboo.
Yes.
And so there's some nights we'll be traveling back and forth. Every other day I will be returning. So I'll be here I'll leave on Sunday night and I'll be back on Monday night. And so I'll be continuously checking in. It just won't be during business hours. But again, my cell phone number is on the outside of the door of the
Okay.
office.
And so if
And I'll have
anybody-
email continuously.
Okay, so as long as that's covered, I think we're in good shape. Does that answer your question? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Don?
I'm pleased to hear that the benefits specialist, Peter, is also going. Whatever further education we can provide will be beneficial to our veterans.
Okay. Thank you, Don. Sherry?
And we will get a report from that conference, right? In terms
Yes.
of
Correct.
Yeah.
a detailed, not
Correct.
just an agenda.
So
great.
if you want to maybe write something up that kind of documents what had happened, and then you can give a verbal presentation at our next meeting indicating, the meeting following that, so that we're, it's part of the record. So we're good. Thank you. Okay. We can then move to number 10, the monthly visitors log.
The requested items, future items and logs that I was provided last month, I was informed to start using this new form that you've been provided, the one with the green on it.
Yes.
Yep, that one right there. And so it was to start on May 1st. So this will be the new form that has been typed up. This is the county administrator approved form. If you have any questions.
Good. Van, did you have any comments?
This is the one that had some months ago, so
Yeah.
finally catching up.
Yeah, we kind of made it a little bit more readable with the different colors. Thank you for putting that together. Sherry, comments? Don, did you have any comments on the form? Because I don't know that you can see it.
Yeah.
There's a new form that came out for 2021. It's a monthly form. It's got calls and walk-ins. And since this is a new copy, we will begin that as of May. Karen's got some of the numbers filled in to date. So we'll kind of move forward with that. That might make things a little easier for us to understand. Sherry?
Miss,
Yes, with
Sherry's got the floor.
oops, sorry. With that new form, the ETK software, is there anything in that? I mean, good gravy. It seems like all of the counties are using that form. Isn't this information on that tracking option?
Karen, would what we have here, would that be covered in the new forms that we just approved?
Sharon, is your mic on?
It will not cover walk-ins or phone calls or emails. It will cover forms completed.
I see. So that would take care of the
So
other.
I guess no.
Okay, so this is separate and also additional information that we had requested. So, Don, between the two forms, the one that will be, or Sherry, between the ETK software and this, I think between the two, we'll have all the information that we requested. So, Karen, was there anything else you wanted to add to that? Okay, did you want to go through this form at all, or just, there it is?
I just, Commissioner Seep, it is in the mail. The form that we're discussing, everything that we're looking at today, you will be receiving for your own records.
Well, thank you.
Anything further, Don?
Well, I don't have it in front of me, so I'll leave I'll let the committee ask questions, and then if there aren't any more questions, maybe I'll have one.
It appears to be well done because the colors, there's green spaces in there for the weekend, so it's more obvious Monday through Friday, you know, which day of the week it is by either gray or white. So every other day is colored, so it's easier to, you know, to determine what days she's speaking of. So this makes it much more coherent and much more readable. So I think
This is the form
this
that
is good.
refers to the numbers.
Yes. During each of the work days during the course of the week, Monday through Friday, they've got one column that says calls, and they've got appropriate numbers for those days. And the second column says walk-ins, so that would be people that are, you know, had not made previous arrangements that have stopped in for help. So the numbers we requested are there, and it's very readable, very visible, and it's been computerized so that it should be much more usable. So anything else, Don?
No, walk-ins, does that include appointments?
Karen?
Or is there a separate column for appointments?
No, it's
I don't have it in front of me, so
yep, no, it's calls and walk-ins.
So calls are phone calls?
Phone calls are also faxes and emails. That's what the county administrator
I see.
suggested.
So we don't know how many appointments you have unless they're delineated in the calls. Well, you know how many appointments you have, but it's not on the report.
Right. There's no individualizing veteran appointments.
Okay, just off the top of your head, what is the average number of appointments you have in a day?
Some days there are 5 appointments, and then other days there are no appointments.
Okay, so the average length of an appointment would be half hour?
No, the average appointment time is at least an hour. Some 2.5 hours. And then there's some forms that take 20 minutes.
Yes, okay.
There's no logical, I've tried several times to hit peak days and peak hours, and there's just really, it's
just off the
undocumentable.
top of your head, because I don't have the form in front of me, what is the average number of visitors that you have to your office in a day?
Average, well, it's hard because this time of the year is higher because everybody's coming in to get flags, and so that kind of skews the numbers. But I would say 4 a day.
4 visitors,
Yes.
including walk-ins.
Yes.
Okay. So on the average, it'd be a half hour to 2.5, or it would range from a half hour to 2.5 hours. Is that right?
Yes.
What's the average number of claims that you submit in a month?
Again, we discussed this last meeting. It's
just the top of the head figure.
the next form, the VA forms, if you could,
Okay.
I know you don't have it, Don, but according to this, I just, it's really hard to, because they're different forms that could be construed as as claims. So it's really, I completed 35 federal forms this last month. So
Yes, well, Form 21 is a federal form, isn't it?
the Form 21,
Yes.
the
Isn't
Form
that a release of
21
information form?
The Form 21 is a federal form that I have to submit, claiming that I work for Richland County. It's like an annual form. You have to do it when you first get hired.
Yeah. So that's what my point is, that's just one of those routine forms that you have to fill out, a release of information form, or how many actual claims are we for pensions and benefits? As an average, would you estimate that we're filing in a month, or that you're submitting in a month? Not all the ancillary forms.
I mean, there's burial claims that you have to submit for. So
Well,
if you want to count those as claims, there's state claims, but there's federal claims. But
how many federal claims? Just a ballpark, Karen.
It's really difficult. Maybe 8 in April.
Yes.
Maybe.
So can we, in perusing your report to us, can we deduce, learn from your report the answer to questions?
What? I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
If we look over the report that you submitted to us, can we find out the answers to these questions that I'm asking you now?
Yeah, we're looking at the VA forms
I
log
don't
right
have
now
it
that
in
tells
front.
you the numbers. So when you receive that, then you'd be able to see.
Okay, that's what I'd like to know. The purpose of my questions is that, just as an analogy, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
in any form of business, whether it's manufacturing or social science, social services industry, there's a need to measure widgets, to measure work product, to measure time worked on a project. And the reason for that is so that we can analyze the workload and the productivity of the office and determine the needs of that office in terms of staffing and manpower, as well as determining quantitatively the productivity of the office. Naturally, we would want to look at the quality of work. If people are rushed, maybe their quality will decline. But those are the reasons that we as a committee are interested in these kinds of reports, Karen. And thank you very much for what you're doing.
You can definitely be assured that anything that my office needs, I will always bring to this committee and make you aware of. My time is good and my office is adequately staffed. I'm completely happy with my office. I want for nothing at this moment, except for a computer program that you guys have blessed me with today. Thank you for that.
Keeping in mind that these reports are significant evaluation tools for management.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Don. One question I have, when you talk about walk-ins, does that include people that have made previous appointments?
Yes, it's anybody that walks through the door.
Okay. I wonder if that title could be changed to kind of incorporate the two, that people actually that do walk in unappointed and those that have come with appointments. Is there another term we might use that would clarify that a little bit? We can think about that. It's not necessary now, as long as we understand that's a combination of the two. I think that was part of what Don was talking about. But at any rate, is there anything further you want to say about this, Karen?
No.
Okay, it's, I think it's well done, and it looks good. It's much more readable.
Thank you.
We're making progress.
Yes, Van?
Well, we should try this for 2 or 3 months and see how it goes. Then if we want to add or subtract things to it,
Yeah,
better than trying to do it right from the start.
correct. It's a matter of trial and error. This is a great improvement over what we had, and this might, like everything, things change and improvements can be made, and we'll consider this at future meetings. But for now, this is wonderful. And if you want to kind of take into consideration what Don had said, we'll kind of maybe think about his widgets and kind of go from there. So, anything further on this? Karen, was there anything further we're pretty well taken care of there?
Yeah, if you didn't have any other questions.
No, I think this is a vast improvement. Thank you.
But thank you. I add my thank you, Karen, for your work in progress.
So that was the monthly visitors log number 10, number 11 VA forms log.
That's what we just went over.
Oh, boy, we're good. We're moving right along. I like this. Okay, DAV van updates.
There's no updates. Everything's pretty much the same.
Yeah, I happened to stop in at the city administrative building, and I saw the van parked there in front of that. And I'd asked you before where it was kept, and I guess I never noticed it. And I parked right next to it, so now I know where it's at. How frequently was that used this past month?
I don't get those reports.
Oh, you don't? So is that state handled?
The VA has an office that specifically is where the dispatch office and the local drivers. There's 3 different ones that all take days,
Okay.
and they alternate between traveling.
Where's the VA dispatch office?
In Madison?
That's in Madison, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so everything kind of works through Madison for that van.
Yeah.
Okay, that's something I needed clarified, because at first I thought we were a part of that. So, okay, I guess that's that then.
I
Yes, ma'am.
have a question. Why is it on our agenda if we can't get a report? Just curious.
I gave a report last month. It's just to update on changes since it's a county function. Not a function, but we had a former committee chair that asked that this be on the agenda. And in the past, we have discussed taking it off the agenda. But again, that's your decision. But like last month, I reported that 3 new drivers had been applying. It is a volunteer position. However, it's pretty rigorous testing to get approved. And then the month prior, the DAV changed its policy and it started taking veterans to appointments other than the Madison VA. So that's the kind of thing that I report on, but I can easily remove it from the agenda. But yes, we have no oversight over it. It's just
Mr. Chairman,
Don?
yes. I think that it's okay to have it on the agenda. May I make this suggestion? Why don't we leave it to the Veteran Service Officer to utilize her discretion? If she has an issue that needs to be brought forward to us with regards to the van, she can put it on the agenda. Otherwise, leave it off the agenda. Wouldn't that be sensible? I mean, that's right. It's probably not necessary to have it on the agenda if there's nothing to report. But if she does have something to report, she has the ability to put it on the agenda. Right, Karen?
You spoke my thoughts. Thank you. Karen, would that be acceptable? We'll just
Yep.
take it off, and if there's something that comes up that needs addressing, you'll add it to that particular month's agenda and we'll,
Yes, I
Deal
will
with it.
remove this as a standing agenda item and only add it if I have an update that I need to give.
okay, I think this can be
Mr.
done by,
Chairman, I think I better put that on the record as a motion. I
okay,
move that the agenda item for updates on the van, on the DAV van, be left at the discretion of the Veteran Service Officer.
sounds good to me. Second, Sherry seconds that. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor of proceeding with that thought, please say aye. Aye. Don? You agree?
Aye, yes.
Excellent. Anybody opposed? Okay, it passes. So Karen, it's up to your discretion whether or not it's on, and generally it's something we don't talk about, so we might as well just kind of leave it off unless there's something comes up we need. So thank you. Okay, and then number 13, budget report.
Yep. So there's a couple of things. This is a requested item from Sherry. This is the budget that you wanted to see. Yep, that one, the budget, yep. And so I'm just giving you the copies of that you requested. And then the other thing, that is in the packet that I gave you, the WCA Capital Watch. Howard Markline has put in for an increase to my CVSO grant. And so you will see that reflected, differently on the other, any new budget after October. So as far as the grant, population's less than 20,000. We right now get $8,500. It has not been increased since the 90s. And so Senator Markline asked for an increase to that. And so if
To what amount?
to $9,350.
So it's about $800 more than what it had been.
$850 more, correct. So, I mean, anything isn't, it's an improvement. It's going in the
Yes.
right direction. They're not decreasing it.
Yes.
So, I just wanted to make you aware of that. Also, annually, I have to apply for the grant. In order to apply for the grant, I have to get the county, this committee's approval to apply for the grant. And then, the county attorney draws up the grant and then it goes to county board. And I typically do that before the grant actually comes out due to get ahead of it, because sometimes committees and, the county board and just kind of the flow. So I usually typically get the approval for that about 3 months out. So if it comes due the new fiscal year in October, then I'm ready. This past year it came due January 1st. They change it every year. It's very fluid when it's going to come out, and that's of course based on their own state budget. So within the next couple of months, I will be asking permission to apply for the grant from this committee. So you'll see that on the agenda.
Okay. Sherry?
Mr. Chairman, question for
Sherry's
Karen.
got the floor. Sherry's got the floor, Don.
Sorry, Don.
No problem.
Now I've forgotten. Now, is this an annual grant?
Yes.
Okay. And my other question was, what do we do with it?
It's, if you look at the budget
It's on here.
page, yep, it'll show it.
I'm on a phone.
Now, we'll get to you, Don.
No, I'm talking to my daughter.
Say hi for us.
It's under the, it's on the expenditures. Oh, it doesn't appear. Right there, it says the line item. If you can see the veteran service grant and the line item, it's, some of the grant money, is for salary, and some of it goes towards computer, electronics, advertising. We pay for We pay for like business cards and brochures and things that we have printed, typically come out of that grant. The computer program that we will purchase comes out of that grant. That's typically how a lot of counties actually pay for theirs every year. It's the only way we.
So it's operational, essentially.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Don, your turn.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Karen, and Sherry. It's a little cumbersome for me at distance here in the hinterlands. Karen, I believe we used to, the state used to require that you submit for reimbursement on that grant. Is that the same procedure now?
No, it changes annually. They really do change it annually. There is no rhyme or reason. We cannot look forward and see. They require a packet of paper filled out. This previous year, Victor Vlasic had to sign it because the county hadn't given Clint the signing power yet, but I think that's changed every year. This whole grant process is completely fluid. There's no rhyme or reason. It's literally a stream. You just don't know way it's going to run. So
In your I'm sorry, Karen. In the application for the grant, are they requiring a report of expenditures in various categories?
this past year, they wanted an estimate on where we thought we would spend the money.
Yes. Have you received this year's application yet?
No, we just a couple of months ago we received the grant itself. So
I see. For the next grant we're talking about.
Oh,
Okay.
right, correct. And that's what I had spoken of earlier, that within the next couple of months, I'll be asking permission to apply for the grant, but typically it comes out after the new fiscal year, which is October. But sometimes it comes out
Okay.
in January, and this past year came out in February. There's no
But-
rhyme or reason.
Karen,
have
for
to
the grant that you just received, did they require you to submit various categories of expenses for how you would spend the $8,500?
So, yep, what I had just,
For the grant you just received?
right, they required an estimate of where it would be spent.
I see. Okay. Thank you, Karen. Who knows what they're going to apply this year, require, right? You're saying it changes from year to year.
Yes, I've never had the same. I've been here for 6 years. My 6th anniversary, by the way, just a couple of days ago.
Happy anniversary.
And it's never once has it been the same. It's been different every year. There's no, you have to react. There's no way to be proactive.
Is that application for the grant processed through the county clerk's office or now through the administrators?
It's this past year, Victor Vlasic signed it
Yeah.
because the county had not given Clint the signing powers yet. But I do believe that has been updated now. So this year, it will go through Clint. Clint did receive the check when it arrived. And it did go through him when the grant money arrived.
I see. Okay. So the application records are on file with the administrator's office? Is that correct? All right. So that if any committee member wanted to look at that form and get an understanding of it, they could go through Clint's office to see that.
Or
I
mine,
presume-
correct.
Well, you have it on file as well?
I always keep a copy for my own records.
Okay. Well, that's fine. Thank you, Karen, for your patience with my questions.
Anytime.
Okay, thank you, Don. One of my questions was now that the state has improved the amount of money that comes to our particular place, was any of that due to the COVID relief bill that came down from the federal government?
No, this was just a much needed
Okay.
increase.
So it's one of those things that comes from the state generally, because I believe that there's some information in the last relief bill that indicates that money is going to come down to our level that we can apply for. And if we have that opportunity, I'd like to make darn sure that we, apply for that and get it to improve the quality of service that we can offer veterans or expand possibly what it is that we do. Because we've got quite a number of veterans in this area, and I want to make sure that we do the best we can for those men and women that served.
Always.
So
We'll be, Mr. Chairman, we'll be looking to our administrator for guidance. That's
correct.
going to be a big, complex a matter of paperwork.
Oh, yeah.
But Clint is on top of that, and he'll advise us, I'm sure.
Yeah. Government always includes lots and lots of paperwork. I'm not sure whoever reads it, but there it is. So with that, is there anything further on that subject? Okay. Let's go then to the committee responsibility explained. Karen?
Those are the two handouts that Sherry had requested. They talk about the Richland County Veterans Service Commission. That is the guidelines put out by the county specifically covering our committee. And then the state statutes 45.81 covers the County Veterans Service Commission. So those are just for your own review.
When we first came on as board members assigned to this, this is something we received. It's actually in the Wisconsin state statutes, 4581. It's pretty straightforward, but if you've not seen this before, this should explain most everything we do. So, as new members, I think this is good to know. As a new member, when I came on, this kind of helped me a lot to understand what it is that we do here. Of course, now with the new administrator that we have, at our last meeting, we've discussed this several times already, but we have completely changed over right now from county executive to county administrator. So everything will go through Clint Langrick at this point. So all we're going to kind of have to get used to shuffling papers, his direction, and we should be good to go with that. So it's just a matter of readjusting where we go for this. So Karen, anything further on that?
No.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, let's then move on to public input. Is there anybody here that would like to speak? Yes. Ms. Freeman, thank you. Would you speak
Question.
closer to the mic, please?
Question.
Just pick it up.
I was unable to be at last month's meeting, and one of the concerns that I had personally, and among other individuals that talked about this process, on how the individuals are hired for the commission. Now, last time it was not advertised with our newest member, but this time it was advertised. So in the future, will the process always be where it's heavily advertised and give other individuals the opportunity to sign up for an opening? Or will it be handled the way it was with the previous new member? And with that question, how did it get changed? Or should it have always been advertised for the opportunity for people to sign up for it?
Okay, we'll attempt to address that. Karen?
Okay.
When Sherry replaced B, what's his first name?
Dave.
Dave B. Did we advertise?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Don?
we have to be careful with back and forth. When a question like this comes up, it normally is put on the agenda for the next meeting to address. It's not in the specific questions related, are not all related to the agenda. So respect to Ms. Freeman's questions, which are sincerely put forth, I think it would be appropriate for the committee to address her questions at the next meeting when we would have an opportunity to involve our administrator from whom we take direction.
Okay, Karen?
I think that Commissioner Seep is correct. I think that I should record the question and then forward it to the county administrator, and we can address it at the next meeting.
Okay, so Marge, is that okay with you? Okay, so we will address that, but just from my point of view,
Be careful.
I should let this be. I think I'll be careful. So, with that having been said, we will bring that up, so make sure that's one of the agenda items, and we will bring that up at that time, okay? I definitely have thoughts on that, but I'll express them next time. Thank you.
Well,
Next
we
up.
have to, Mr. Chairman, we have to abide by the open meetings law and the open records law. So that's the reason it's important to raise these issues, points of order.
Not a problem. I will bow to your seniority, Don. Thank you.
Well, no, don't bow to me, bow to the law.
Your seniority and the law. So thank you. We rely on you to keep us going on the right path. So with having said that, we're down. Is there any other? Yes, Van?
To change hats, I'm gonna be the sexton for the Lone Rock Cemetery. Was there a big savings in reducing the size of the flags? I'm not worried about so much the size of the flag. Was the size of the stick is so small that when you put it in the holder, they flop around, they fall out. The stick needs to be bigger. And if they didn't save that much money on these things, I think it'd be better to either go to a bigger one or do something, because these little sticks are just not going to work.
I can speak to cemeteries that have had similar, because it's so windy. Typically, cemeteries on the ridge are having that. There are a couple of different ways, like, because it seems like it's always like 4 or 5 out of the cemetery that continuously kind of come out. And that's, they've been using rubber bands on the sticks. I mean, they're I can definitely inquire to the company. The company that produces these flags will go above and beyond and jump through hoops. I could definitely speak to them and see if we can purchase the smaller flags with the larger dowels.
Was there who made the decision to go to a smaller flag?
I did.
Was the committee involved in that decision?
No.
I see. Okay.
I
Was
wish
it a
they got this-
budgetary issue? Was it a budgetary issue?
Yes.
And how much difference was there?
I can bring the price guide for the next meeting.
Point of order again. Mr. Seep, we're back to point of order again, I believe.
Thank you, and I stand corrected. Mr. Van Nelson is just an excellent parliamentarian, much better than I. He's been at
I'll
it
put-
for a lifetime.
So
I
I'll
rely
put that on
two
the
of you.
I'll put that on the agenda for next month. So.
Yeah. So we will also add that to the agenda, since we've all been corrected again. I love it. Okay, now we've had 2 people, public input. Is there anybody else who would like to speak to any item? No one? Okay. So, well, thank you very much for the input. Future agenda items. I think we've got 2 that we're going to add to this, including taking off the one that has to do with the van updates at this point. Is there anything else that we need to consider for next month's agenda? Sherry?
Last month, after the meeting, our special meeting, we talked about a feedback box. for the office.
Yes.
And I wonder, is that something we can put on the agenda for next time and discuss? Or is there progress moving toward that, or just?
Okay, Karen?
We used to have office surveys. They were great. I loved having that feedback. The county attorney suggested that we take off the names, so there's no names, and then if people want to be contacted about their visit, then they put their phone number on the bottom, and then the chairman would reach out and speak to them. That's how we've always done it. We've always had these surveys. And the committee suspended them to be addressed at a future time. But I would be more than happy to start using them again.
The discussion is getting off the agenda. We can place it on the agenda for the next meeting, but we
Done.
cannot discuss it now.
So that'll be a third item to be added to next month's agenda. Thank you, Sherry. Any other thoughts?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, for the next agenda, I've had 2 or 3 inquiries, and perhaps Karen can address this. They have not seen the previous minutes for the last 3, and I brought this to your attention, Mr. Chair. I think we sent a copy to Karen. The minutes are not posted on the county website for at least the last 3 meetings, and then there are several prior to that. And I want to put that on the agenda for the next meeting. No more discussion.
Okay. So let's add that then, the posting of minutes from this meeting. We have the video right now that records this.
But that's true, but we can't discuss that, Mr. Chairman.
I realize that. I'm just clarifying.
Yes.
So we have this actually being videoed, but we also need to make sure that there's a physical copy of this that's Barb Scott gets to put into the, to the records that appears on the official documentation here. So put that on the thing and we'll discuss that next time too, please. So that's number 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Set a date for the next meeting. When is the next?
17th of June.
17th of June. So if everybody wants to write down June 17th, that will be our next meeting, 10 o'clock at the same spot. Same bat channel, same bat station, I guess. Anything further on that?
Yes.
Karen?
I would really like to get the agenda made yet this week for June.
Okay.
And the reason why is because I will be at that conference between the 6th and the 11th. So I want to make sure to get all of this done so that when I come back to the office, I'm not completely kerwumped with tasks. So
Not a problem.
just if you want anything added to the agenda, please let me know between June 1st and June 6th.
Okay, so everybody's
you.
got that. So that we're not accused of meeting out of meeting. Contact Karen directly with that addition, and we'll just approve it prior to the meeting. We'll kind of go forward with that. Don, is that okay?
That's fine with me. You can request an item on the agenda up to 24 hours before, but that's pushing it. I would say
Correct.
5 days is 5
So-
days is more courteous.
Yeah, so Karen, within the next week, will have the new agenda out. When you receive that, if there's anything that needs to be added prior to 24 hours before our next meeting, just contact Karen. We'll get it on. We'll discuss it at that time then.
And just FYI, the agenda has to be posted within 24 hours prior.
Correct.
So if you're going to submit something to me, it has to be
Maybe
before.
48 hours before at least.
Yes, at minimum, because
Yeah.
if I'm not in the office to get the email,
Right.
which has happened in the past.
Yeah, so just make sure Karen's got enough time to post it so we're legal. And with having said that, I will accept a motion to adjourn. Okay, Van motions and Sherry seconds. Any discussion? No? Okay. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Nope. Passes. We're done. And it is now 11:10.
Thank you for the meeting. I can get back